I'll be confused. Okay,
All
carry
right, we're
on.
back with another episode of the One Man Show.
You got that right.
We have a guest with us today. We have
Yo.
Arman from Everyday People SG. Thanks for gracing the couch, Arman. I'm glad that you're here because we get to kick Ridhwan off to the single seater.
Oh, I'm sorry I kicked you out of
No
your
problem.
pedestal.
You have no idea how dirty this couch is.
Oh.
Arman has been doing stuff on the couch. I'm glad to be away from the couch.
The couch has been stained.
I should boil my jeans after
Yes,
this
you need to
interview is
sertu.
done.
Malay people say you need to sertu. You need to wash with
I think
earth.
it's easier if you just throw it away.
Okay, fair enough.
So what's up, Arman? How are you, man?
I'm good. You know what? I came here fully prepared for this podcast. I actually got my beard trimmed specifically for the
Well
both
done.
of you. I wax my hair. I don't even wax my hair for my mom, but I wax my hair for the both of you. That's how
Thanks.
prepared I am for this podcast.
Thank you. And just so you know, Ridhwan wanted to be here in slippers. I
Oh.
made him change to shoes.
Not really. I asked if I should change.
You see, this guy waxed for us.
This
You
is
were
this
going to
is-
wear slippers.
This is my show. I can do whatever I want. At least I can change the shoes. You can't change your face.
Again with the face. From the guy that has a dick for a nose. Really?
Fair enough,
Really?
fair enough. At least
Really?
he's
You want to
taking-
go there
Okay,
again?
the thing is he's taking care of himself. I think that shows because he's a cat person. So he takes care of his cats. And so he needs to take care of himself.
Are you a cat person, Arman?
I'm a cat person, but my mom would disagree with the fact that I take care of myself because my room, like, there might be a dead rat in there,
Oh.
but you might not know because that's how messy I am. I'm messy because I'm very functional and organized with work. So to counterbalance that, my room is super messy.
So are you the kind of guy who like, even though your room is messy, you know where everything is?
Yes, so if somebody cleans it up,
Yes.
I will have no idea
I
where
always think this is
everything
an
is.
excuse. This is
I'm
a
like
excuse.
him, man. I'm
Functional
like him.
mess.
Yeah, functional
Functional
mess.
You're correct.
For the
You
win.
learn something new every day.
I don't need to know.
I always hate it when people clean my room because I wouldn't know where everything is.
You're just lazy.
Listen up. 2 functional mess people here against 1. 2 journalists here against 1. So you're actually
I'm a
No,
freaking
you're-
OCD guy.
you're alone in this, man. So just be careful of what you say. Okay.
Okay, fair enough.
So Arman,
Yes.
tell us more about Everyday People.
Okay, so this is where I do my shameless plug.
Yes, carry on.
So the Everyday People is an online publication which I started 2016 late July. So it's slightly over 2 years old. And it's basically a storytelling platform where I interview everyday Singaporeans, as the name of the publication might suggest, or people who are based in Singapore. So it's supposed to be inspirational, motivational, and the stories are supposed to be honest and real. And the whole point of me doing it is because for a moment, I just thought there's so much toxic content out there, especially on the World Wide Web, and I thought we needed to go back to things which really mattered, which was like I don't know, solidarity, racial harmony, I guess, and all that good stuff. So I just wanted to have something to sort of juxtapose against all the garbage that's out there.
Yeah, that's very noble. That's a very noble cause.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I think you're right in terms of like things being toxic out there. I think until this very day, when there are days when I always have BBC on when I'm in the car.
For real.
Yeah, BBC World Service on, right? But sometimes
Intense.
sometimes it just comes to the point where all the news are bad news.
Mhm.
It's people dying. This guy wants to go to war with that guy. This guy just got killed, and then like it just comes to the point where I'm like, okay, let's not even listen to the radio at all. And I think like people like you come to bring to light what news can be, and it's not just about bad things. It could be also about good things.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, I don't sugarcoat stuff, and it's not just like happy stuff there. I mean, the beauty about an honest story is that a person can share something that's real, like can share a dark moment in a person's life, and the beauty is in how that person overcame that adversity, and there's a beauty in how they flip a negative situation into a positive one.
Right.
So it's not just like a happy platform, like a happy storytelling platform for the sake of being a hunky-dory happy storytelling platform.
How do you end up with this weirdo then?
he was.
Destiny.
Okay, why don't Ridhwan tell you how I first
Yeah.
met him?
Since you don't have much to talk about.
To be honest, I forgot. To be
Dude,
honest, I forgot.
I'm so offended right now.
This guy wax for you, man. Come on.
I'm just giving you an opportunity to tell. I'm sick of hearing my voice. Come, how do we meet?
Okay. So Ridhwan was actually the first athlete that
Oh
I
yeah,
interviewed.
correct.
I think was it 2017?
I think so. So because I was winning and I was making headlines and somebody needs to cover me from the angle of being a human because I'm a nice human being, but you know
Some would say.
most would say. So I think he got my contact. Then we decided to meet up and chat. We have some prata also, so that shows we have special bonding. And then
Was it nasi biryani or prata? I think it was nasi biryani.
I forgot. Yeah, what?
Yeah, prata's our thing, bro. Don't you dare do it with anyone else.
Don't be jealous. Yeah. So after that, then he wrote a story about me. I think 2 or 3 times. Then there's a video. Yeah. So he helps to promote my fights, my event, and the events that I was fighting in. So that's pretty much how we met.
Yeah. I mean, how often do you meet like a world boxing champion from Singapore? So it was just a natural thing for me to contact him for him to be the first athlete on the
Yeah,
Everyday
technically
People.
not yet world champion, but yeah, fair enough.
Well,
I'll take it.
UFO world champion, right? UFO,
UBO, idiot.
IBO, whatever.
All those, yeah.
All those BOs, you know what I mean? One BO. But Aman, tell us more about your background. Where what kind of studies do you do and what do you do for work and stuff like that?
Oh, so this goes way back. So I studied mass communication at Ngee Polytechnic from the School of Film and Media Studies. And in my final year, I specialized in print journalism.
Right.
I mean, that was one of the 3 electives. But when it came to transitioning from school to the real working world, I decided to pursue publishing.
Right.
So it was a bit tough because back then people did not recognize like a diploma. The diploma, they recognized like a degree certificate. So the earlier years it saw me interning, doing lots of freelance assignments, and then I decided to go back to school to finally get my degree, and that was when I got my first full-time job as a travel writer at a hotel booking site. It's called asiarooms.com. I'm not sure whether you've heard of it.
Is it something you want?
Sounds kinky.
Is it something you want to do?
Travel writing?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to, because I come from a print journalism background, so I always thought to be a writer in Singapore, you have to write for a magazine or a newspaper. So the thought of making the transition to online was something which I did not really plan, but I think it was a blessing in disguise simply because they say that print is dying.
Correct.
And people are making the shift to digital. And I mean, I was not a travel person. The idea of traveling solo never crossed my mind, but I guess it came. I mean, it was one of the perks of being a travel writer.
So you got to travel with your job.
I got to travel across Southeast Asia for 2 years, and the only reason why I left that job was because the company shut down. So the big boss from Manchester flew down one day, and he basically said, so from today onwards, Asia Rooms is no more.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, so I guess that's the end of. If something is too good to be true, it probably is. So it was a good 2-year stint, and then from there I just continue writing for online platforms until I decided to start my own platform.
Are you still doing freelance work now, or
I still do because the Everyday People is not something that can financially sustain me, at least for now. I do make some money out of it, but to make sure that my parents don't disown me and that I stay financially afloat, I do have to juggle a bunch of part-time work and freelance work.
Yeah, I think media work these days is very, very difficult. Like for you, you're in print and publishing, right? And I'm in broadcast, I'm in television, and now again everything is going digital. And I had the same experience with as you had when your boss came down from Manchester. So I remember, so I worked for ESPN Star Sports for around 2-3 years.
Nice.
And then we got bought over by Fox International, so we became Fox Sports Asia. And with every acquisition there will be retrenchments.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point of time, I was on a rolling 12-month contract, and one day, well, everybody knew that if you are being called into the big room, it means that you're either getting let go or you're getting promoted. So all the junior staff had to go in, and everybody that went in before me were let go.
Oh,
Right.
sucks.
So I went in, and it was so funny that they did, because they had to rush through the process. They didn't do one-on-ones; they had to do 2x2s.
Oh.
So I
sensitive.
was with this guy. His name is Fraser Morton. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Fraser.
Shout out to Fraser, who has gone on to amazing things. I forgot what his website is called, but he's gone on to amazing things. So me and him went in, and then we got told that we were gonna be let go by the end of the month. And Fraser is a Scottish guy, and he's the nicest Scottish guy I've ever met. But that was the one time when he went all red and just bang on the table. It's like, how could you do this to us? And me being me, it was my first ever retrenchment. Like my view of retrenchment is very bad, because I've been through a few retrenchments with my dad. Being retrenched. So I was just like, oh God, this is happening to me.
Yeah,
I never
sucks.
thought this would happen to me,
Mhm.
but this is happening to me. So we both got retrenched. Luckily for me, oddly enough, a week later, I got a call back from Fox, and they're like, hey, there's a vacancy in our motorsports team. Do you want to, you're the motorsports guy in news. Do you want to join us up? I was like, do I want to? Of course I do. So,
Do I need to?
yeah, well, I definitely needed to. I had a bike back then and stuff. So I
What
think,
bike were you riding?
don't want to tell you.
You're bluffing.
Yes,
No
I'm
photo,
bluffing.
no video, nothing.
I
Doesn't-
think at the
doesn't
time
happen.
I was on my first bike, which was an X1.
X1.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
Kachai.
Yeah,
Humble.
I had a bike also.
I'm a humble guy.
Yeah, same.
Forget. Stop telling me you
I had
want
X1R.
no, okay, yours is R, mine is not. Mine is the cheaper version.
X1R, Ridhwan.
But anyways, not important. What's important is that my retrenchment story turned into a good ending story, because I was the only one inside that retrenchment group that actually got
Call back
called back.
because you're cheap.
Listen, called back, and not only was I offered a job, instead of a contract job, I was given a permanent job.
Boom.
So I kind of got promoted because of the retrenchment.
Do you tell Fraser?
No, I hope no. Fraser knows. Fraser knows.
He only just found out.
By
after
the way,
watching this.
Fraser Morton is now doing really good stuff. I think he
for a website which you cannot remember.
I cannot remember the website. I'm really sorry, but I think he recently went to the North Pole for Net Geo.
Oh,
Wow.
cool! Wow, that's legit.
So he's apparently he's sponsored by Sony.
Okay.
So Fraser, and he has a really hot girlfriend. So
well done, Fraser.
Fraser.
It's a bit weird to say.
I hope you're hearing this. I remember you, man. Don't forget me.
He doesn't remember. He doesn't remember your girlfriend. That's all. That's all he remembers.
He remembers your hot girlfriend.
Well, yeah, who doesn't, right? But yeah, I mean, I think you can relate to this. Like, from being a journalist in Singapore, it's not really easy, is it?
Oh, it's not, bro. Even just getting a job, to begin with was very difficult. I had to part-time at Starbucks during my, straight after national service. I actually considered signing on because I was from the Singapore Civil Defence Force.
Mhm.
And there's financial security, and I was getting a bit passionate about the whole rescue life.
So you're a fireman? You want to be a fireman?
Back then, I was really
Okay.
considering it. But then I told myself, if I did not give myself the chance to pursue my writing passions, I would, the fireman thing, I can always go back to it. But this writing thing, but actually it doesn't really make sense. You can always go back to writing anyways. But back then, I just thought that this was the hot time to pursue my writing aspirations. But it was so difficult for me to get a full-time job. So I had to part-time at Starbucks. And I remember telling the manager back then, I'm only going to be here for 2 months. After that, the new paper, they're going to hire me. So, that's it. and I ended up staying for 2 years at Starbucks.
Well done.
And I did a free internship for 3 months at a magazine just for a portfolio while part-timing at Starbucks. I remember working like a 7-day week where from Mondays to Fridays, I would intern at this magazine. And on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon, I would be at Starbucks. And on Sunday, before I went to Starbucks, I would give tuition.
Oh, that's a lot of hard
That
work,
was
a lot of
for like
sacrifice.
3 months. And I was like, what is this going to amount to? And then I got that travel writing job. So I guess that kind of like,
Yeah, you
got-
must stop complaining about life. See what's happening.
I was just gonna say, Wan, all you do is box. So look at us. We have to hustle. All you do is box.
Yeah,
Wan.
yeah, whatever.
You wake up early, you go for a run.
That's what happens to talented people.
Oh, okay. So we're not talented then. That's what you're trying to say.
Excluding him, just you.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I'm with him though. Boxing is legit hard though. At his level anyways.
Oh, somebody knows his good stuff.
Well, if I was if I was training every day, I have no excuse not to be at your level.
What's the keyword? If.
Yeah, well,
If.
if boxing can
with
feed my
caps.
family, I'll be a boxer.
Okay. Fair. Next.
So, I mean, do you firmly believe that you can continue being a writer in Singapore?
I mean, it depends on how you view the occupation of a writer. I think at this day and age, the platforms that you can write for, it's definitely different from the platforms that you were able to write for in the past. I mean, now you can start your own blog and you can declare yourself a writer and you can actually monetize your blog. I mean, I personally don't consider a blogger a writer because that's an insult to all the thousands of dollars I spend on my education. And there's a difference between a writer and a blogger. But I think that you have to be smart and adapt with the times. And like for me, the only reason why I can sustain and keep my passion was because I decided to just start my own website. I cannot see myself working for another person. I mean, the biggest motivation for me starting the website was actually I was sick and tired of working for other people. I just remember being on a bus on the way home one day and telling myself, I vividly remember telling myself I'm never going to work for another imbecile ever again. This was after like a really bad day. I had an altercation with my boss. I was like, man, why do I do this to myself? So I decided like, no, I've had this number of years in online publishing. Why don't I just start something on my own? And that's the only reason why I'm still able to have my passion for writing and editing. Obviously, no one is paying my monthly salary now the same way, but yeah.
But how much work you put on this everyday people SG thing? Is it like every day, a lot of hours?
It is.
Or you just decide I'm gonna go out and take a photo of somebody and get a story?
Initially, before I launched the website, so you have a backlog of stories, right? So that when you launch it, you will never run out of stories to publish once every 2 days or something. But then as life got busier and my freelance jobs like caught up with me, there were moments where I wouldn't publish anything for like a week, and it would be really awkward for me because it's very important that I have like a consistent number of page views, because that would like attract advertisers and all that, because they will be asking like, what's your page view like you know, what's the frequency like. But now I've reached the stage where I admit that I need a small team. So thankfully I do have a bunch of people who reached out to me and said that they really want to contribute, and I do pay them. I can't pay them as much as, you know, like a legit employer, for example, but yeah, sometimes like when you need help, the universe just opens up and conspires, you know, in your favor. So these people, I'm quite fortunate that they sort of, you know, I'm assembling my team of Avengers to like help me before I collapse and die or something.
I think I really respect individuals like you who,
Thanks, man.
you know, dare to do it on their own. It's something that I always thought about, but I've never had the guts to do, especially now with a family and responsibilities and a cat.
I think you have a podcast.
Yeah, well, this is different. This is a step into that, but
Also using me to step into something that you
yeah,
want to
I
leave.
told you I'm a Ridhwan dick rider.
You're
I'm
an
just gonna
ass.
ride your fame
You're an
until I
ass.
get money. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You're just leveraging on
Yeah,
you, bro.
Everybody is.
smart. Yeah, but I just have to ask, like, when you had that bad day and you're like, all right, I'm gonna do this on my own.
Mhm.
How do your parents take that?
Oh, even till this very day, my mom especially is still on my throat about, like when are you gonna get a real job? Like you're gonna be homeless one day. You have no CPF you have no CPF to buy a house. You're gonna be homeless. Like when your parents die, where are you gonna stay? She said that on my birthday. Like the reason why she's been like so
Just
hard on
2 weeks
me.
ago, that's what happened
That
2 weeks
was
ago.
2 weeks ago.
Sucks, mothers.
But
Mothers.
she said it in a very. She might be watching this for real. So she said it in a very sentimental
Loving
way, in a
way.
loving way. But I do not. I mean, obviously there are days where you just question, your direction in life and whether this is gonna amount to anything. But for some reason, maybe it's with turning 31, I just felt that 2019 would open up opportunities for me. I mean, there have been some opportunities that presented themselves to further develop the website and hopefully, monetize it. So I'm just, you take it a day at a time. You climb one mountain at a time. That's how I would approach it.
What kind of companies or people will approach you to develop the whole thing that you're doing, this project that you're doing, so you can get money out of it? Who would?
So initially, the everyday people is not just a platform for storytelling. So I had to be quite business savvy with it. So
Yep.
I made sure that there is a lifestyle component to it, so that lifestyle brands can hop on and, hopefully one day when my website becomes a household name, like brands like Uniqlo would want to
Yep.
advertise on the website. But strangely enough, I did not expect to have my first client in my second year, but I did. And there was this organization called East Coast. Shout out to East Coast because they do really awesome stuff.
Shout out
Do
to
they
East
reach out?
Coast.
Do they reach out to you, or you have to reach out to them?
They reached out to me
Wow,
actually.
okay.
So they are this group that helps ex-offenders in Singapore reintegrate into society, and they do that by helping them with employment, because it's very difficult for ex-offenders to find jobs
Yeah.
because of discrimination and stigma and all that. So this East Coast really does amazing things in terms of job matching. And they also help the families of ex-offenders, because it's not just the ex-offenders who are affected. It's the kids, the wife, the husbands. So they really provide emotional support. But the thing is, when you mention East Coast, nobody knows of East Coast.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm hearing.
Precisely. So you might know of the Yellow Ribbon Project, right? So that's the mainstream.
So they're the people behind it.
No, they're not. They are a separate entity, but they do sort of interlap in some way. But they came to me because they wanted me to sort of do soft marketing for them.
Right.
So it's basically, so what we did was we created a series called Humans of East Coast. So where I interview ex-offenders who benefited from their programs, also people within the organization who are doing all this amazing work on the front lines that regular people like you and I would probably not know. But they are out there talking to all these people, and also partners and volunteers. So they wanted me to sort of highlight these individuals, so as to, just shine a light on East Coast.
I think this is what East Coast is doing is a subject that I think Ridhwan is very involved with, right? I mean, ex-offenders and all that.
I mean, I have a few. I did a few talks in prison. So when I walk in there, you cannot imagine how much people are cheering. I am super famous in. I am.
Humility.
I wonder in what kind of way.
I don't know, but it's like they are super excited to see me, and I'm excited to see them. And some of them have heard my story like more than once, but each time they listen, it's like they're listening for the first time.
Yeah.
And there's something there's just something in their eyes and the way they shake your hand, the way they just want to ask you questions. Some, even though some are a bit weird, like I don't want to say, but I think they're all humans too. I mean, sometimes we forget. We're just too busy with our own lives, and we're just moving forward so fast, the pace, and we just forget there are these kind of people that actually needs our help, needs our support. And actually, Yellow Ribbon Project, before going to prisons and talking to these prisoners, right, these offenders, it is just a yellow ribbon project. But now there it seems to be some more a bit more significance to it after knowing them as people, because I get to see them in their white and black shorts. So it's really sad. Some stories are sad. Sometimes I would think, they get themselves into that situation, but there are really times. A lot of times they are just born into it. So it's a bit hard. It's a bit sensitive. Like I don't know. It's a very messed up. It's a very messed up world out there. Even though in Singapore we're not as ghetto as like streets in New York, for example, but these things happen here in Singapore, and I think these people need their voice to be heard. So I'm quite glad this everyday people SG the project you're working on is working with what ISCO.
It's cost.
East Coast. So I think this is a good step. Not just about making money, it's also about making an impact, making a positive change. So I think that's what we need.
Do they have a
Word.
website or something that people can go to? Plug them in.
I can't remember their URL specifically, but just Google East Coast,
How do you spell it?
ISCOS. You will definitely find them.
Yeah, just go through everyday people SG if not.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, Everyday People SG, I've seen very different kind of people on it.
Don't
How-
lie, you just saw it.
Like 5 minutes before
Yeah,
the interview started.
Yeah,
Or
before you came, you just-
downstairs while having a smoke.
Or might as well.
Yeah, that's besides the point. I went and I looked.
Okay.
And tell me what's the process like into choosing an individual for what you want to do.
Originally, I interviewed friends because I was very doubtful that strangers would open up to a stranger, especially with no portfolio to show. Like, hi, can I just know about your deepest, darkest secret, like in the next 5 minutes? So I had to interview friends, and from there, friends of friends. So initially, it was anyone under the sun. Basically, if they were my friends and they were willing to do it,
Right.
I would feature them just to have something to show to people in the future. But now I'm at a stage where I'm a bit more selective, because I know what people resonate with, and I know what kind of profiles would respond really well. So stories about the marginalized minorities, people who've overcome certain adversities, those kind of stories do really, really well. And I'm also fortunate because now people actually reach out to me, be it via Facebook or email or Instagram, and they say that they have a story that they want to share, or they know of someone with a really, really powerful story that you might want to consider featuring on a website.
But you don't
So,
feature their names, right? You don't. You say their names?
I do share their names.
Oh, they don't mind.
That's interesting. I mean, some people, when I talk to them, I'm the one who feel a certain kind of way because they open up so much,
Right.
and I have to like prompt them, like, are you really sure that you want to share this with the World Wide Web? Because once it's up there, it's gonna be up there. I mean, I can take it down, but like, why waste all the effort in putting up that story in the first place? And yeah, some of them are really, really open, and they told me that it's more important that their stories.
Yeah, I
get
think
told.
you're like a counselor on the move. You have to face.
Yeah, I think
to
I
open
think
up.
I think what it does is actually a compliment to your own individual skill when
Yeah.
they
Thanks,
really
man.
open up to you,
Oh, thanks.
because not everybody wants to open up, firstly, like you said.
Mhm.
But if you really take the time, but even if you really take the time, some people will just not open up to you. But I'm pretty sure they kind of resonate and they connect to you. That's why they open up to you. I've been in the media line for 8 years, and
Mhm.
I've interviewed a lot of people, and the thing about famous people is they have a PR manager,
Mhm.
they have people telling them what to say all the time. So it's very rare for me to actually get under their skin, get and get to know what they really feel. But I understand when you say that sometimes you feel some way when you interview a person, and you actually doubt whether you should be the one telling the story or not. I remember a national bowler, Shaina Ng.
Oh, I've interviewed her before.
Yes.
Mhm.
So
Great person.
she's I think she's also a world champ.
She
You know,
is.
yeah.
She's a world champ.
is.
And when I started talking to her, and then she just opened up about how she had a lot of mental issues that she had to go through. I'm not sure if it's depression or not, or was it pressure, but she was very open about it. You know, she said she got people in to talk to about it and build herself up and stuff like that. And you know, when I go out and tell sports stories are supposed to be motivational stories, but there is a limit to how much you actually want to go deep into it, because you don't want, you know, the thing is, if you're doing a sports story, and say for instance, if I'm doing Ridhwan and I tell, you know, Ridhwan tells me like, oh, you know, I have this soft spot on my right neck, you know, and stuff like that, and I tell it, and I tell to the
Do you
whole,
have a soft spot on your right?
and I tell it to the whole world, and everybody wants to beat up the soft spot on his neck, right? People will like try to attack you in that way, because sports is a game, and you always try to get as much advantage as you can.
Yeah.
So for her to open up like that, it was really inspiring to me, and you know, after that, she, you know, we had a talk and stuff like that. I realized like, oh, she's not gonna open up to anyone or everyone that speaks to her. You know, you gotta talk to her in a certain way, and you really gotta earn her trust. In that 5 minutes, that's 5 minutes for you to earn her trust.
Totally.
So I think if you keep on feeling that way when you're interviewing people, you're on the right track, man.
But you know, on the flip side of that coin, there have been certain people who like have cold feet just before you publish their stories, and they sort of tell you, just hold on for a second, don't publish it yet, and then they just vanish, they just disappear on you.
Do you make them sign anything before?
No, I don't, because
I mean, you can or you cannot.
I can, but I choose not to, simply because the fact that if I have to make it such a formal process, it's just gonna kill that level of intimacy with them. I mean, to me at least, but I guess the smart thing to do is to make them sign something.
I thought maybe it might go against you, like you post it up and they say no, I didn't ask you to post it up, then you get lawyers knocking on your door or something.
I suddenly feel as though I need to hook myself up with a lawyer or something.
Protect yourself at all times. Boxing, protect yourself at all times.
In actual fact, I'm actually thinking right now that we should have got you to sign something before
I
you
can
went.
sign anything with my blood.
So one brought it up, but he forgot to make the form.
No, that's your job.
Well, I guess it is.
But you know what? You cover sports, right? I
Yes.
think athletes are the most like interesting people to interview. It must be a dream job to interview athletes.
Athletes are boring people. I think most of us are boring. I am boring,
Yeah, you are.
and a lot of other athletes.
You see the silence there? It's consent.
Like we wanted to counter it,
Yeah, but
then
we
just kept
can't. I'm
quiet.
sorry. Yeah, but I think athletes are fun to interview. It's just that you gotta, for somebody like Lewis Hamilton.
Have you talked to him?
Yes, I've talked to him a few times. I'm fortunate enough to talk to him a few times. Talking to him once is like him talking to a robot. Sorry, it's like I'm talking to a robot, because
that's not a compliment.
he will give you standard answers because he sees you once and that's it, right? So once a year, Singapore Grand Prix rolls into town. That's when usually I get to interview him with Fox, and you know, when you see him once a year, that's it. Where else? I was fortunate enough to follow a few races in MotoGP, and I actually got some really good friendships with some of the riders itself, and that's when you actually enjoy interviewing them. Like one of them was, and it just happens to be that he's Malay, so it's Hafiz Sharin.
Is that Malay connection? Huh?
Hafiz Sharin is a Malaysian rider who this year became the first rider to ride in MotoGP. And you know, I interviewed him like 5 years back when he was still in the junior classes. So until now, we do keep in touch, which is really nice. But other than that, honestly, sometimes it's, once you've interviewed one person, you kind of feel like you've interviewed all of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, unfortunately, is that I do multiple sports, but I still feel that way sometimes, especially when it comes to the bigger global stars. I think the latest one I did was Caroline Wozniacki, and before that was Martina Hingis. And
What's
both
that? Tennis?
Tennis.
both of them are tennis players, Both of them so beautiful. But very similar answers. Very similar answers to very different questions. So they have been trained from a very young age to answer a certain way.
Yeah.
So unless you know them personally or you really sit down and you spend some time with them,
Which is impossible.
which is impossible because most of these superstars, like for instance Formula One, you have to put in an interview request maybe 6 months ahead.
Whoa.
What?
That's a bit ridiculous.
It might sound ridiculous, but it totally makes sense because they get so many interview requests.
Ridhwan will be like that
Okay.
one day.
Yeah,
Like,
but-
hey, Ridhwan, can I interview you?
I can be like different people to different reporters. Like some days I just open up, some days I'm just like quiet, some days I just like want to I just want to tell everything. So it really depends on the person. I mean, for me, if the person shows that they're not like haven't done any homework or just like read about me like 5 minutes ago, for example, I mean, it's just a bloody turn off. I'm different people. I'm different to different people, basically, for me. And I think that's a good thing about fighting. As a professional fighter, I think as an amateur boxer, you still need to respect Sport Singapore and the rules, the conduct of being an athlete representing Singapore. But as a professional athlete, I can be whoever I want. I can be vulgar. I can be the good boy next door, the quiet boy. I can be whatever I want. So that's why my character keeps changing, I think.
He's
So-
a chameleon.
So you choose who you want to open up to.
Yeah, I just choose to be boring with you because I just don't want you to like go up.
Sure, bro. Very, very sure. Well, Arman,
yes.
we're not here to talk about Ridhwan.
Yep.
We've talked enough about Ridhwan. Tell us one of the most weirdest story you've ever heard or ever had an interview with.
Weirdest.
Yeah.
Well, that's a difficult one. This is where we have like an awkward 10-second silence.
Pretty
as I
sure there's
think.
someone out there who's weirder than Ridhwan.
Weird. Oh man. Have I ever met someone who was weird? If the person was weird, I would not approach them to begin with. Oh, but then I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
that
you
they
wouldn't
were
know,
weird.
right? I mean,
Or
when
weird
you
story maybe.
I can share with you like a really funny story.
sure.
Like some people, before I actually approach them, or once I tell them that I'm from the everyday people, there will be a rare occasion where they tell me that, oh, I've heard of that website before, and when they read a story, right, they assume that everything that they read is exactly what the person would say verbatim, but they don't understand that there's a process behind it. Like you interview someone, you transcribe the interview, then you have to edit the copy so that it seems like very seamless. So sometimes they assume that how an interview goes is that
English has to be perfect and
they
all that.
they would just vomit out every single aspect of their lives,
Okay.
of their
okay.
life. And you know how an interview is, you're supposed to structure it, you ask a question, a person answers. That way the person who's interviewing can sort of make sense of what the person is sharing
Yep.
with you. But this person would just regurgitate. There was like 2 people who just vomit out every single thing, and I'm the kind of person who doesn't feel comfortable asking a person to like stop talking because I feel very
Because
rude.
you're too polite.
So after an hour, I just get super zapped because I'm so tired listening to
An hour?
every single
Wow.
thing. And
Shit.
I actually pay a transcriber because I no longer have the luxury of time to transcribe all my interviews. So I would usually tell my transcriber, this is going to be a long one. You'll probably want to tear your hair out, have coffee, So yeah, that's one of the funnier incidents, I guess, interviewing someone.
Siwan is talking about you. You
You
talk
need a job.
non-stop.
You
You
need
talk
a job,
non-stop,
so
dude.
You did a job by next year, so give it a chance for
Yeah,
every
maybe
job.
I'll be nice.
But anyway, I've seen one of the stories that I really like. There's this guy, I don't know if you put his name on it or not. He was talking about his past love, and then he had the heart problem or something.
Had a heart problem.
Was it him or was it
is
the
that
girl?
your imagination one?
No. Then he loved the girl. Then he was always cheating on her still.
Oh,
And then,
wrong.
but then whatever, how many years
Wrong.
later they're still like together and stuff like that.
That guy, he does not have a heart problem.
No, he
Oh,
that's a different story.
but maybe are
That's Iman. Sorry,
you referring to like
A
an
broken
emotional
heart.
like an emotional heart problem
I
or
don't
like
know.
a physical
I
heart
just know
problem?
that he had a girlfriend that
wrong.
they were very close friends and they got together. Somehow they're not together again. The girl got with somebody else. Did they get married even? The girl?
They did
No.
not get married. So
But they are still very, very close friends, right?
they so that story was one of those moments where I had to ask him like, "Are you sure you want me to share all of this? Because this is really personal."
Yeah, nobody will go out and say, "Oh, I cheated on her" and stuff like that. But he just opened up and he just brought the pureness of love, man. It was like,
Oh, you were feeling the feels.
yeah, man.
You
I
were feeling the
feel-
feels.
Now
You got onto one.
I almost cried, man, reading about that.
Seriously,
Yeah, I was tearing. Then I was talking to Rizal about it also. So it was like,
you were talking to
damn.
Rizal about it. What did he say?
I can't remember. He's got
and,
no
and
heart.
take note, this is a guy who did not cry when he got defeated, but he read your story and he almost cried.
I cried.
I did not even know that. Wait, yeah, okay.
I'm always crying, especially when I see your face again. Yeah, so I like this. I like the story from this guy. In particular.
Thanks.
Now I remember the one with the heart problem is the guy who went to NS and stuff like that.
I must
Also
have
about the same line, but then yeah, whatever. There are a lot of stories. So
I
you
must have
go- you
interviewed
go
so
to
many
Everyday
people, I
People
cannot
SG. Yep.
yeah.
What about telling us the most inspirational story
Has to be me. Of
you've
course.
ever had?
Apart from Ridhwan's
Yeah, apart
story,
from me, yeah.
obviously, like
Obviously.
the
You're just saying that because you're on the show.
no, like
Okay, carry on.
I think it's one of my more recent stories that I published with this lady who's also 31. She's our age and I can't believe it because she seems like such an old soul. She
Old soul, or does she look old?
dude, she's an old soul. So her name is Liana and she was actually homeless and pregnant.
Wow.
And she was living on Sembawang Beach with her 2 kids while she was pregnant with her husband. For
Damn.
how long was it? For like 3 months.
Wow.
Because her mother-in-law kicked them out of her house on the morning of Hari Raya. Check that out.
Oh.
My heart just
Check that
went.
out.
So this story is on your Everyday People SG Instagram.
Yes, yeah, it is.
You
And
got
on
her
the
face
website.
there.
Yeah, I saw her face is there too.
So
Wow.
what was she? How did she survive?
How did she survive? So so she went to all the different agencies that can help homeless people, but all of them rejected her. I think her breaking point was when one of them told her that, we have a long queue, we have a long list of families looking for shelter. You have to be on the waiting list. It's a first come first serve
What
basis.
the hell?
Why don't you consider staying at a hostel in Geylang for $18 per night?
Mhm.
And she gave up after that. And this is where you really feel like your faith in humanity is restored, because on the day before New Year's Eve, there were 2 people who were pushing this trolley of containing tin biscuits,
Right.
and so they were distributing these biscuits to every homeless person on Sembawang Beach. Apparently, there are plenty of homeless people on Sembawang Beach. I had no idea.
Well,
It's a
me
scary
either,
place to
yeah.
Uh,
stay in also.
And she was very hesitant to approach them, but they approached her and she told them about the challenges that she went through. And the next day, she had multiple phone calls from people who wanted to give her a shelter, and they turned out to be these people who were pushing those trolleys. They were editors from the Online Citizen,
Oh.
and they wrote
okay.
into like the MP in her constituency, and they were the ones who sort of got people to help her out.
So within one day,
Like the day after.
wow, it's just the constituency can do work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
So
surprised.
if
Well-
they ignore him, means they're really ignoring you.
Well, this is one of the things which this podcast wants to highlight, which is the problems that everyday Singaporeans have.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter whether it's an athlete problems or professional problems. Everybody got problems it's just different kinds of problems. And today you just open me up to knowing that I have no idea that there were so many homeless people in Singapore. Like, I've read a few articles about how there were people living under expressways and all that, but I mean, thankfully there was a happy ending.
Mhm.
But
But imagine the 10 more, those on the waiting list still waiting. It's
yeah,
like,
I'm pretty sure
I
that
know
it's
you're
just
homeless,
one
but
out
you
of
need-
100.
I know you're homeless, but you need to be more homeless so we can help you. Like kind of situation.
Stay in a
like-
hostel in Geylang for $18
So
per night.
so when you get your hands on this kind of stories,
Mhm.
does it pump you up? When you write, you're like, I gotta get this out, because You get extra motivated by this?
I do feel a sense of responsibility just because you are dealing with someone's life story. I mean, to me, at times when I get really pressured by deadlines, it just seems like a matter of something I have to do. It's like on my list of to do. But when I really take the time to read the transcript and read the edited version of their stories, I realize that there is a sense of responsibility in telling this person's story and telling it right, because this story can help so many other people
Yeah.
who read it. You never know, someone else might be homeless or someone else might be going through a really shitty situation in their lives, and you never know how a story of that nature might just pull them out of a funk.
Yeah, this is why I prefer, and I'm fortunate enough to have chosen sports journalism, because most of the time, I don't have to sit on the moral fence. I think people who write about life, any other kind of news, like you yourself, like you guys need to have that high sense of morality in order to do what is right. Whereas in sports, thankfully, what you see is what you get.
Factual.
If it's a goal, it's a goal. If the referee says it's a goal, it's a goal. And I think that makes my job a lot easier than your job.
But now you're hosting a podcast where you're going to be interviewing so many different people.
Yeah, but I think this podcast is a chat. It's a talk. It's just two guys and a couch and a guest. We just want to know what you guys go through on an everyday basis. Because I believe that everybody has a story to tell. And this is a platform for their story to be told. Yeah, and I, like I said, I think it's a good thing that that story, there must be a reason why the universe gave that story to you and not to anyone else, because someone else might have spun it a different way.
It was actually published on another platform as well, but I was one of the few that managed to feature.
That's always important in the print world, isn't it?
Do you have any idea how she doing now?
Oh, she did really well. So even in the context of the art of her story, she actually managed to now she's living in her own home. She actually became a businesswoman. She got really into entrepreneurship.
Awesome.
And she is successful, and she actually left her then husband, because she told me that and this I shared in the article, while she was making all this effort to better herself, her then husband was sort of plateauing, like he wasn't willing to put in the work and he stopped being the breadwinner. So now she left her ex-husband, she remarried. She told me a lot about how it was a struggle for her to reconnect with someone else. Unfortunately, I couldn't squeeze every single thing into the article. But she's doing really well now, and she actually moved into her home like a few weeks ago. So her life has really come full circle from being homeless to actually owning her own home with her family.
What's her name again?
Liana Damira. You might want to chat up with her for the podcast.
Yeah, well, if you're listening, good on you, man.
Liana,
well done. Now,
I think we can get a lot of people from his Everyday People SG.
just use my website as a database to like
Everyday People SG.
Drag.
Follow that on Instagram.
just to drag anyone you
yeah,
want to
we'll
this
put a
couch.
link in the description below. Now, Arman, when you interview somebody, just now it's very interesting where you say that there needs to be a process. The interview is a process. To me, it's an art. How do you prepare for interviews? Are you the type to write down questions, or are you the type? Well, for me myself, I think I just like to chat. So no questions, no nothing. Just keep the conversation going as much as possible, just like what I'm doing here.
It depends on who I'm interviewing. If it's like Ridhwan, for example, so his was quite a full-length feature. So I needed to know as much about his background and his story as possible, so that I don't make a jackass of myself when I interview him. You know what I mean? But when it comes to like interviewing like everyday people on the streets, or for example, you're not supposed to know anything about that person to begin with. So now it's quite a wing it approach where you just sit down, exactly like what you just said. Like you just sit down with a person, you sort of explore their psyche and sort of, really find out who they are and what they want to share. So with regards to this website, it's pretty much impromptu. Yeah.
So what's the end goal for everyday people?
The end goal for everyday people for now, it's to make it a household name. I want everyone in Singapore to know, like when you say the everyday people, oh, is that a website? I really love that website. And also to maybe get more like clients on board, like East Coast, companies that are doing amazing things, and I would love to sort of help them shine light on what they're doing. So it's like meaningful work that I can monetize. That would be the dream for
Amazing.
me. Yeah.
So okay, other than writing and stuff like that, what else do you enjoy doing?
Photography. Yeah.
I was expecting him to say boxing though.
And boxing.
Mhm.
Boxing has become my newest passion.
Nobody
As
likes
Ridhwan
boxing when you
would-
are around,
As
Ridhwan.
Ridhwan would tell you. I just had a boxing class yesterday.
What? I didn't see you.
Dude, I was there, like
You
sweating
were-
it out.
Come on.
Like I never see you train for like 6 months and then you suddenly appear just to take a photo, put it on Instagram.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. It's just for Instagram. Did he recommend you to come here?
No, I actually wanted to come here. Yeah.
Did you get a free lesson?
From him? No, he's not giving me a single free lesson.
He gave me a free lesson.
Why did you give
I
him a
did-
free lesson?
I didn't give you a free lesson.
You did give me a free lesson.
I did.
My first lesson was a free lesson, and then he refused to take me after that.
Yep.
I guess I was too good for you.
Oh my god.
Sorry to say this.
Whatever.
I was too good for you.
Whatever.
Now, Arman, it's something that struck me just now was that somehow we always end up talking about education on this podcast.
Mhm.
You said that you were struggling a bit when you had your diploma,
Mm-hmm.
and that you actually went back to school to get your degree.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately. Do you still feel like it was justified for you to get a degree? Do you still believe that a degree is important these days?
If you were to ask me personally, for me, education is not a vanity thing. Like some people, they want to get like a degree just so that they can tell people that, I have a degree. But to me, education is something that is supposed to equip you with just enough so that you can survive in the real working world. That is as far as I can, like measure the worth of education. Where writing and photography are concerned, everything that I learned, like the foundation was laid when I was
On the job, man.
at Ngee Ann Polytechnic actually. That was when I wrote for the campus newspaper in my final year. I was a photojournalist for the campus newspaper. I actually did graphic design for the campus newspaper. I was helping run a magazine run by final year print students, which had national circulation in Singapore. So every single thing, the passion that I had for publishing, the skills that I picked up, it was actually all from my poly years. When I went to university, it was mostly a business-oriented mass comm program. And the only reason why I actually chose that program was because it was 10 months. So
Right.
it was like a shortcut to getting a degree. And it was part-time, so I could like work at Starbucks in the daytime and actually go to school at night, like 3 times a week. But maybe it's improving now, but I think that companies need to have a change in perception where certs are concerned. Like, a diploma holder is just as valuable or just as much of an asset to a company as a degree holder.
I think
Do you have a degree?
yes, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
What do
Why?
you think about it? Like the whole thing?
Do you? You don't, right?
Oh, of
A
course
degree in
not.
boxing.
No, I don't.
You don't have a degree in boxing?
No, I don't.
Well, you got a few belts.
Doesn't count for anything.
You don't know I have a degree?
Of course it counts for a lot of
You
things.
don't look like someone who has a
Oh,
degree.
come on. I brought it up
Oh
because
yeah, you did. What? So you have a degree in mass comms also?
yes.
Oh, okay.
So I brought it up because I think I served reservists a month ago,
Mhm.
And you know how there will be some NS guys and stuff like that that you mingle with in reservists. So one of the guys came up to me and uh, we were chatting and I asked him, so what are you gonna do after NS? And it's like, I'm not too sure. I don't know whether I want to go and get a degree or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, do you have the grades to go to university? And it's like, yeah, I do. But I don't know whether it's worth it or if it's something that I require. So in my own professional opinion, I stand by what you said. It education teaches us the minimum, but I do also believe that a degree is a passport.
Mm-hmm.
A degree is a passport for you to get into the job market,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else from there is down to you.
You have to prove
Yeah.
yourself from then on. I
Yeah,
guess.
I mean, a lot of people don't get opportunities because if you are a diploma holder and I'm a degree holder, a company would choose the degree holder, right? And with the job market right now, where degree holders are willing to take diploma pay, it's even worse for diploma holders. And I always I do also think that other than the fact that it's a passport for you to get a job, just delay going into the workforce. Don't be too happy or too eager to become an adult.
Yeah, but isn't it like good to have like some working experience? Because if you are just a degree holder but you have not worked at all or minimal work experience, I think you're still gonna lose out to somebody who has a diploma but has extensive work experience.
you can't say that you can't say that about doctors.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But that was a legit point too, though.
How is that legit?
Because it's from me.
It's what was your point again?
I forgot what I said.
Yo,
See
you-
what I mean?
Dude, I was
There's
just
no-
like
there's no
backing
legit
you
So
up.
get, so
point.
get a degree.
So-
That's why I don't have a degree.
Degree.
Yeah. So I went. I was into poly for 1 month. I hated the course. I quit. So I went to NS first. So I went to NS and I decided whether I should go to school. Obviously, I have to go back to a diploma course. So I went back to do a diploma course. Then so I passed, and then I did pretty well. Then I applied for NTU. I got into NTU. I got accepted, but at the same time I had a bad breakup, so I wanted to go run away to Australia. That was stupid. So I applied for the Australian university. I got it, but by the time I rejected the one in Singapore, I had no money. I didn't have enough money to go to Australia to study, so I had to reject that. Then I went back to NTU. Then they said, "No, too bad. You have to wait for the next." But then by that time I already opened a gym, so win-win.
Oh,
That was quite a story.
yes. Nice breakup though.
Thanks, ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, but well, you went a very long route, but in the end, you still
Yeah,
You s-
but I still wonder if I want to do a degree, because obviously people associate me with sports and they expect me to go to do sports science degree, but I hate sports. I hate to do sports science, and it's not something that I want. If I want to do a degree, it will probably be, I don't know, maybe marketing. I really like that for some reason. Marketing,
you Malay, what?
yeah, whatever. Best comms. I don't know. I don't really like all this technical stuff. I just like, I don't know. I just love marketing. So I would go back and do degree in marketing, not in sports science.
No, wait. But my question is, why did you go back to get your diploma after your national service?
One of the reasons was that when I was just busy boxing at a point of time, so I went to the gym and there's this youngster who's about maybe secondary school. So he came up. I know he's a bit of a troublemaker. So he came up to me and he said, "Hey Ridhwan, I want to be like you. Just go train. You don't need to go school. You don't need to do anything." I was like, "What the hell? You think I'm like that?" So I'm like giving off I feel like I'm giving off a bad impression that this is just you need to do. You don't have to go to study. You don't have to do all that. So because of that idiot, I went back to school just to prove him wrong. But halfway, I really love studying. I really love studying.
But do you think uh getting that diploma made you a better person?
Better person, I think it's not the process of the studying, but the process of meeting people, the process of slugging together for exams, and you get to know. I think the most important thing was the internship. At the end of the day, whatever you learn in class, it can only take you to a certain extent. Then after that, it takes character. It takes your own hard work to stand out, and that's where I met Fairuz, and that's how we started this gym.
Fairuz is the
He's the co-owner of Legends Fight Sport together with me, and I mean he has always wanted to open a gym. The story is here. He has always wanted to open a gym when we were in poly, and I was against opening a gym. But one day, like I said, I had a bad breakup, so I was on the sofa at 1 p.m. I was like,
wait, this sofa?
This particular
no,
sofa.
this is yours dirty sofa.
I hope not.
So I was on my sofa at home, so I'm just like lazing around, being lazy, being pathetic,
Heartbroken,
heartbroken and
crying,
crying.
listening to Blink 182.
No, Westlife.
Westlife.
That's the feels, man. Westlife. So I just set up and said, shit, man, I hate myself. I'm just sick of being sick and sad. So I called Fairuz and said, hey, dude, let's open up a gym. And he was like super happy. And I think the point I'm saying it, I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it. Let's open a gym. And I had to travel out to somewhere for a competition. So when I was back from that competition, then he came back and said, hey, dude, I found a space that we can make a gym. Then I was like, shit, things just got real. So I need to find money now. And then that's how the gym started, because of one woman.
Nothing like a woman to motivate you to do something with your life.
Yeah, but the thing is, I hate it that if she ever listens to this or she reads a story about this, she will think that she's the reason that I made it.
Nah, she's not. You are the reason you made it.
Yeah, of course. I just want you to say it. You fell into the trap.
I fall right into it. What about you, Arman? Do you think that few years in that 10 months in university, make you more equipped for adult life?
I think, okay, first of all, I really value all my friendships that I made when I was in uni, because when I was studying part-time at uni, right, the people
Which uni was this?
the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, but I was doing it at SIM.
Right.
Because the group of students who took up this program, they were all working adults. And so that showed a certain level of responsibility.
So they are already in the industry.
Precisely. And the only reason why they wanted to take up the degree was because they wanted to further their careers. So I was in a pretty legitly adult crowd. But in terms of improving my quality of life, I mean, it landed me my first job. As you mentioned, it is a passport to getting a job. It does significantly increases your probability of getting a job. But it showed to me at least, it proved to me that I could be very resilient. Because I guess at that age, when I really was frustrated about my writing career not taking shape, I could have just given up and, I don't know, do something. Like my mom told me, why don't you just chop passport at the airport or something? Or be a teacher.
I don't want to say it.
Or like be a teacher.
Nothing
wrong.
Nobody will watch this podcast.
I'm thinking the same as you.
Like nothing wrong with that,
There's
but
nothing wrong with.
precisely, I actually considered doing it
Me too, to be honest, yeah, me too.
For a fraction of time, but because I was so dead set on my writing career, it just showed to me that I was willing to do whatever it took to actually pursue my aspirations, and if it meant dragging my ass back to school 3 times a week at night, yeah, and I did it, and I actually managed to sort of prove to myself that I could be quite studious. Because I think in poly, you sort of, when you're poly, you're a teenager, you wanted to be cool and...
he has no idea what we're talking about,
Oh,
because he's not part of the cool poly
He's
gang.
not cool at the poly
The
clique.
only poly he went was polyclinic.
Yeah, but I really you know what? I actually made a decision to avoid certain people. When I was in uni, I specifically masterminded who I wanted in my group. Like this girl right here, she looks like she can get me a grade A. So I sort of, but my group does not know that. I'm revealing it now.
See, you learn things in
This is
university.
like the reality series.
This is how this is why you should go get a degree one.
I masterminded everything.
What? I can only focus on one thing.
I say, this is why you go to university, because you learn how to scheme.
Mhm.
Yeah, I should be scheming you.
No, the thing is, I'm already scheming you, dude.
Yeah, shit.
Was that how this podcast came to
now-
be?
Yeah.
That's also one thing I want to point out to people who went through my route,
What route is that?
the JC A-level route.
Ah.
Trust me when I say this, university is gonna be so easy.
Really?
University is so much easier than the A levels,
What's your
dude.
yeah. I mean, but what's your score
There's no score. You
in
just get.
JC? A levels.
Don't talk about my downfall like
Since
that.
Since it is so
It's-
easy.
No, I'm saying that getting a degree is easy. That university is easy. Not A levels is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life
Okay.
until now. In terms of education, but a degree, especially the fact that you're trying to major in something that you already have an interest in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like communications.
Yeah, but not a lot of people get to study what they want. That's a problem.
Well, that's the other thing that I also want to point out to people who think that they cannot afford to go university. There is a lot of outlets out there where you can actually get a scholarship or sponsors and stuff like that. Because I took a loan with Mendaki in order to get my degree. So, you know, when there's a will, there's a way. It's like what you said, you learn how to be resilient. And being and trying to and learning how to be resilient in your early 20s is probably one of the most important things in your life, because you will carry it out when you go to work, and that's when it will eventually translate to your work life and hopefully success. Now, what I notice about the three of us here is not to blow my own trumpet, is that I think we're quite determined in what we want. And
Really?
I think
The last time you told me you want to lose weight, it doesn't seem like you're doing that.
we're quite determined what we want that benefits us in life,
Isn't
Okay,
losing weight
fair.
beneficial?
which losing weight might not. Well, my wife says she likes me this size, so
Okay.
yeah. So you guys cannot say anything.
Okay.
As long as she says it's fine, it's
Okay,
fine.
we're determined then.
On
Uh,
MySpace, it's like more to love. Right?
Yes.
Remember MySpace era?
So that no other woman can love you. Yeah. That's it.
Sure.
Helps us sleep at night.
But I think what I want to point out is that if you at a young age already know what you want, and you develop a determination to go reach for it, I think the three of us here are living proof that you can get what you want eventually.
Yep.
Right.
True that.
So I think that's very important for people out there listening to this to understand that yes, it's three Malay guys sitting
On the
down
couch.
and
In one
talking.
corner.
Luckily, there's no corner here, or a guitar, or Marlboro Reds. But at the end of the day, if you're determined enough to reach for a goal, and you actually put the work into it, I mean, we all hustle. And Arman, you've proved. I mean, you've told us how your hustle was, which is an inspiration to all of us.
Oh, thanks.
Definitely.
You know, you can eventually reach what you want, even if it's just for how long were you at the company for?
2 years.
Yeah, even if it's just for 2 years, you get to taste the sweet cream on top of the cake. That's good enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm so inspired right now.
Oh, for what it's worth, right? Those 2 years at Asia Rooms, I was able to pay my dad back for my university education. So the company shut down just at the right time.
Oh, perfect.
Well then, I'm still not able to pay back Mendaki. Mendaki, I'm paying you installments. Don't
you-
worry about that. I'm slowly paying you back.
But are you really paying every month?
I have to, man.
So you're already paying?
Yes, I have. I've been paying for the last 2 years.
Shit.
And I still got a few more years to go.
That's a lot of
You
money.
can do it.
And I don't have a job at the end of the year.
Oh.
So-
Starbucks. There's always Starbucks.
Hey, you want to know a story?
Starbucks, sponsor us.
Do you want to know a story about Starbucks and me? Until this very day, I have always wanted to be a barista at Starbucks.
Do it, man. Why not?
I've never gotten the chance or gotten interviewed by Starbucks ever before. I remember, look, being a barista was kind of cool, like a few years ago, right? I mean, like I had
A few years ago, you mean like 10 years ago?
I had an ex-girlfriend who was a barista. I was like, oh, she's so cool. And she hangs out with guys who are so cool, making coffee.
Yeah,
and
but
all
I
that.
feel like those who work in Starbucks, you need to have that vibe. You need to have that cool vibe. You need to be, hi, welcome to Starbucks. that kind of vibe. I'm not that kind of person. I cannot do that.
No, I
You're
don't.
a officer.
I don't care whether you are, but I've always wanted to be in that clique, right?
I'm just saying you
And
definitely
I've
don't
tried-
have that vibe.
Listen, I've tried and tried and tried all the way. Even when I got that job at ESPN, even when I got the job, I always did this funny thing when I hang out with my friends, where when we go to a Starbucks, I'll always fill up an application form.
Really? I think you've
And
become
I
an inside joke.
and I think maybe, and it's only I think 5-6 years ago that I stopped doing it, but I've always been doing it, but I've never ever gotten a call back.
Oh,
Starbucks
for real?
at all.
Funny, they're always looking for people. They just
don't want to look for
Which
me.
outlet
I
do
think
you
they
go
blacklisted
to? Or
you,
maybe you
right?
should have mentioned the outlet.
Well, I've been to a lot of Starbucks, so
think they blacklisted. You do this guy Iman. He's
and I tried
Applying again.
everything. I tried calling in.
Have you done a walk-in where you
Yes.
basically like corner the manager when he or she is working?
Well, that's where they hand me an application form, and then I fill it up, and they're like, "Oh, we'll
you know
give you a
what?
call."
I
soon."
actually got accepted on the spot when I walked in by the
that shows
manager.
how sucky you are, Iman.
My life just keeps getting worse.
Try
And you
coffee
know,
bean.
and you thought that like being a barista is cool.
It's cool, man.
I mean, it is cool until you like it starts getting real.
So I read this thing that these Starbucks guys or girls, they're always getting, like, for example, Iman, then they put you the wrong name, like, on purpose, so that you're gonna take a photo of it and post it online. It's their form of marketing.
Is that so? I mean,
Were you all taught to do that?
maybe not when I was there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a new
because
thing.
maybe it's smart though.
Yeah, it's
Like
smart.
your name is Iman, then they put idiot, but it's quite the same. Then you put you post it
So
up.
so let me ask you. So when you were fighting at MBS and the announcer keep on repeating TWC.
Oh, yeah, what
dude,
the
that
hell, man?
Was that a marketing
so-
ploy?
No, but TWC is a bad vulgar thingy in my head.
Why?
I don't want to say it here.
But what's up with that? I mean, he
I know,
should
yeah, he's too excited. He forgot that I'm the chosen one, not
keep
the.
on saying TWC.
The one chosen.
TWC. No, he says the chosen one, but
Oh,
he
but when
says
he says
TWC.
and he said it
Some people say
repeatedly.
TCM,
and he said it,
traditional Chinese medicine. Like, what the hell, man?
and you know it goes all around the world, right?
Yeah, I know.
So it's pretty
All the
much everybody
millions of
knows
the
you as
world.
TWC now.
Yeah, and they got my entrance song wrong, and now it's like it disturbed my vibe, man.
Oh, you did not walk out to your song.
No, hell no, that song was too happy. It's not me. The entrance song was a bit too hype. My entrance song was a classical African song that says I'm gonna kill you or something and take your heart out.
Okay.
But it
Well,
was
I'm
like
glad you
so-
didn't walk out to that then, because
Yeah.
he ended up eating your heart.
Yeah, I asked him for the pillow back. He didn't want to give me.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
for reals.
Wait,
Yeah.
whose idea was the pillow?
It was a combination of our ideas. So Glenn wanted to do it. Then I said, okay, maybe you should do it. So we get the audience to like. It's like planned, but not. It's still like maybe. I think he just wing it. He just tried. So it was good though. It made the news. A lot more people read about it. Some people called me cocky, what it is. But whatever, man. You're still watching. You're still paying. So
So that was a marketing ploy.
a little bit.
Do you think it went too far?
No, it's just to me, as long as I don't insult someone's religion, family, the country politics, I think it's pretty fine.
Pretty
And
much
then-
don't do what Connor did.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we're just having we are still to be respectful as human beings. We were in the sauna together, like I said in the first episode. So
With no towel.
we have a towel, with towel, we're not with a towel, with our own towels
Okay,
on. So,
okay. Not sharing one.
Yeah. No,
How dare you not share a towel? He's a visitor to our country. Be
I
nice.
gave him a pillow.
But he did have quite an emotional reaction, like when he was, like doing stuff to your face.
Yeah, I mean, he felt quite real though. I mean, at one point he was like being super friendly and family-like, father-like. Then the next he's just trying to choke me and kill me. I'm a bit confused there. So I think he
He played the game.
played the game well.
He played the game, and you
Experience beat me. that
you
night.
went along. Now, I know I'm trying not to talk about your defeat as much as possible, but I just have one question.
Yeah.
When you saw him in the ring,
Uh-huh.
and for the very first time you saw how high up his shots were,
It reminded me of how you might look in primary school.
that he reached his tits, right? Were you inside your head was like, wow, that's funny, or you go like, wow, now it's very hard to get a body shot.
Yeah, that's what I actually thought. So I was like, But the referee made it clear. Ridhwan over here, the shots Paulus over here will be too low. Ridhwan over here, I would say accept it. Anywhere lower, then it will be a low blow. So it's fair enough. But
Was it a tactic?
I think he was just
Because he looks like a smooch burger.
Maybe I think so, but whatever. I said, didn't let anybody shots.
He got you there. He got you there
My
too.
body got killed that night, but it was an experience.
Were you there, Arman?
I was screaming out for you, bro.
Yeah,
I was there.
Yeah. What do you make out of it?
Of the fight?
I think you've seen my fights like 3 or 4
yeah.
fights before, right?
Yeah.
So you've seen the difference.
Yeah, you were not the Ridhwan that
Yeah.
we typically would have seen. Yeah.
It is what it is, man. It
Paid
happened.
$80 to see you.
You paid? No,
I
did-
paid $80.
Too bad.
I've always paid when I watch you fight because I'm trying to support you, right?
No, most of the times you were working.
Well, the last 2 times I was not working.
So that's only like what, $160 only.
Hey, the last time I paid for everyone that was in my entourage,
Ooh.
which was 6 people.
Oh, that made me cry. So you deserve a spot. in
You could
Everyday
have
People
at
SG.
least one.
Yeah, like I wasn't trying. Like the other billion people outside say, you should have jabbed more. You should have moved. You should have shuffled like Muhammad Ali. Like what the hell? Is that
Shuffle
even,
like Muhammad Ali.
is that even like is that even like an advice? Come on, man.
That's like a song.
Do you, Aman, when you were there, do you notice the silence that the whole area was engulfed in once the result came out?
Yeah. I mean, after the fight, because I was seated with the rest of the people from Legends, so all of us were just waiting for Ridhwan to walk back to the back room.
Yeah.
So all of us were feeling a bit like sad, and I at least to me, I was a bit unsure as to how you would react when you approach our
Yeah.
area. But you were just really quiet. I think you sort of like shook hands with
Yeah.
Your brother,
Yeah, I was pretty alright. I
Rizal.
think I really started to cry at the back after I went to the toilet because I had diarrhea.
Because you had diarrhea.
Was that legit the reason why
Was
you
that legit?
cried?
I mean, no, I didn't cry because I had diarrhea.
It was that painful.
Just so everybody know, he's having diarrhea today because he's been and
Nice.
yesterday and today because he's been
I had
making fun of
diarrhea
me.
I had diarrhea
And karma is
yesterday,
fair.
and it was not.
Life is a full circle.
it was
and his
not-
ass is on fire.
It's not pretty, guys. I had to stop at an expressway to shit
In the bushes?
in the bushes.
Seriously?
For real.
Seriously.
You're gonna be on storm for sure.
I wanted to share something, but I shall not share it just for the sake of my reputation.
Why?
It's
With
cool.
whatever. I was gonna say that if you ever need someone interesting to interview, you should interview me and my journey of how I took a shit at the AYE.
Okay, because you shared that, right? I'm gonna share with you that I legitly peed in a bottle in a taxi because I was stuck in the traffic on the way to the airport before.
Did the taxi driver know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's fair enough. At least you have a bottle.
Mm-hmm. And I did it twice.
Wow.
Wow, how
Yeah.
many bottles do you need then?
Let's just say that the bottle was not sufficient to hold everything in.
Right.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing with peeing is that once you let
I
go
can't believe I actually came down to talk about the fact that I peed in the
Yeah, I
cab.
can't believe we're talking shit right now. This is literally talking shit.
yeah, we are talking shit. This is a podcast. We can talk about anything we want.
So I can use slippers if I want next time.
You could, but you must show him some respect, man.
I would have worn slippers actually.
Yeah, he always wears slippers to the gym.
Well,
Yeah.
he waxed and everything for you, and you wanted to wear slippers.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair
And
enough.
your feet is gross. Your the
Yeah,
bottom
man.
of
Now
your
I can't
feet
help
is
but look.
the bottom of his feet is peeling off. The skin is peeling off.
Oh,
and
so is mine too though. That's a boxing thing.
Yeah, because we train.
No, it's not. It's hygiene thing. Take
Okay.
care of your hygiene.
Okay, let's talk about something more.
The fact that he
relevant.
was crying in the back room, or was that like a segue which I just defeated the whole
No,
point
I,
of the
thi-
segue?
I think the whole diarrhea thing was just a connection to whatever Ridhwan was
Yeah, so
feeling.
I cried, and then Legends be over there, and then you showed up with stupid hair. The
Yeah.
first thing I said, like, that's a stupid haircut.
Yeah, that's the first thing he said to me when he saw me. It's like, hey, your hair is stupid. And I was like, you are stupid.
Yeah.
You just lost.
and then you,
And then, yeah, this is exactly how he reacted. He laughed.
I did it on purpose, guys, so we can have a rematch, so I can get more money. And then Adit was like behind, just like laughing. he don't know how to react. So he just
Adib has never been known how to like a reacting person.
I think he's a bit disappointed with the result.
That's why he's behind.
Because his last Instagram post was was a photo of me boxing at the when I won
The
10-0.
sunset one, right?
Yeah. After that, there's no post. I think he was like, oh my god, there's nothing good to post about the last fight. Come on, Adib.
I think a lot of people. I think one you've become a hero, man. You've become a Singapore hero, and a lot of people.
I don't know. I never thought about it like that, because I think, I mean, like you said, everybody have problems. Yes, I have my boxing problems and whatever. But when I listen to stories from like the everyday people, SG, or like maybe you sometimes, so really my problems are really nothing. So I mean, I'm happy to say that I'm trying, but this is my third week of not complaining about anything other than about you in general. But I've made a conscious effort to not complain, and this is the third week, and I am quite happy with myself.
Oh, congrats.
So you're
man.
into that now. That you're working on yourself internally.
No, not that. The other parts, I'm still gonna be a grumpy person, angry and vulgar and shit. But I'm just working on not complaining.
What's your motivation for not complaining?
I don't know. I just saw it on like a Instagram post, and
This is the kind of guy who will buy like slimming tea from a girl, a half naked girl is like, oh, my body's like this because, come on, I expect better from you. Just because I saw an Instagram
I
post.
saw an Instagram post like a quote like, try not complaining about it. So I tried. I mean, I think it's quite liberating. I think it's quite good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try that.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm just gonna try it for a month. After that, I'm just gonna complain and rant and everything. So the next podcast is just gonna be about me complaining.
Oh dear.
Like him alone on the sofa.
Yeah, I'll leave. Maybe Adib will sit in.
He's a nice guy.
I want tell us what's coming up for
Yep.
yourself in the upcoming months or so.
Wait, before that, are you gonna fight?
Am I gonna fight?
Are you gonna get into the ring to fight?
He's kind of putting me on the spot,
Yes,
right, with a
I'm
microphone and
Wow,
a camera.
This is something that is shocking because he has never asked me this.
Because
Oh.
we all know you will never, because you're a scary cat. Okay, whatever.
Okay. So, did I tell you before that I did my first ever fight was when I was like
Yeah, you
17 when I was in Muay Thai?
Yeah, Muay Thai
And
doesn't count.
Yeah, but I
I'm not
lost.
saying Muay Thai is okay.
All the
whatever.
Muay Thai friends
Stop
are gonna
shitting
like,
on every other martial arts.
All the
man.
other martial arts are shitting on the boxing. They're like, oh, I was injured when I was doing Muay Thai. Muay Thai is so intense, I got injured, so I decided to do the boxing. Like, what the hell, man? Boxing is easy. Okay, whatever.
boxing is not easy.
Yeah. So,
okay.
will you do a boxing fight? Because
So
you will
much
never know.
anger.
Did I just complain? No, that
Yeah,
was
you
not-
just
You
did.
did.
You
You
just
I
broke.
broke it.
You broke
Okay,
your.
might as well I just keep complaining now. So do you think you ever gonna get into a boxing fight?
I
Because
don't
you
know.
never know yourself fully until you get into a fight.
You know what? I was considering it, and I'm still like trying to figure out for myself.
You have to get through your mom for that.
No,
No,
I
okay,
just- I mean, every single decision that I've made she's unhappy with, so that's
Might as
always
well.
been
Might
my
as well
motto in
continue.
life. I'm sorry, mom, but it's true.
I hope she watches this.
I
Don't
would,
worry, my mom's against me too, so it's fine.
yeah, but
Oh, look at you guys.
it's just a
Thankfully, my
matter
mom
of
loves me.
I have to be aligned with the decision if I want to actually make the
true.
decision to fight. It's just a matter of me having to do a bit of soul searching, and I guess it's a matter of whether
You can
you.
search for your soul in the ring when you're tired for the second round. You can start searching.
Yeah, that's
Ah,
what
that-
one
that-
did
that
in
was
the last fight.
Let's try to avoid that situation. Yeah, but I think the first fight is pretty important,
True.
right? And most people compete at a much younger age. I mean, we're the same age, but you're at an entirely different level. So if I were to compete, I guess I have a shorter shelf life.
I just have an idea. Why not you two compete?
Is that going to be the next episode where we both spar?
Maybe I'll give you a few episodes, like a few months to prepare. Because he's not going to prepare. He's going to just train once every 3 months.
Every 6 months, maybe. No.
Watch out for the next episode.
Yeah.
Where
No, I'm not. I'm retired. I'm chill. I'm
Retired
married
from
and I have a
what?
kid now. I have a lot to live for. I'm not gonna step into the
dude,
ring.
I'm not going to kill you.
Yeah, you need to find a
You
job
never
first.
know, man. Have you not watched Rocky?
Dude.
Do you not see when Apollo Creed died? Do you think he stepped into the ring knowing he was going to die?
That's true.
At least he had a son.
It was quite true, but it wasn't known until like what?
Yeah, I can't believe Rocky keeps coming back. It's quite annoying now.
There's another one coming up.
Yeah, there's another one coming.
Are you gonna watch that?
Well, I heard it's quite good.
Maybe I think we'll just talk about it more when the movie people start to contact us. And say, we're gonna give away 5 tickets to your podcast listeners. Until then, we're not gonna say anything.
All right,
yeah,
we gotta wrap this up because public transport is gonna stop soon.
Yes.
So Arman, why don't you tell us what's coming up for the next few months for you and everyday people?
It will be so awkward if I had nothing lined up for the everyday people. I would just feel super unaccomplished. So what do I have lined up for the next couple of? I've watch out for more East Coast stories because that will be up every Sunday. On Instagram. I'm not sure when this podcast will be up, so just watch out for it on the website and Instagram and Facebook.
It'll be out when it will be out.
It will be out whenever it's gonna be up. All right,
On
guys.
Wednesdays, every Wednesdays.
Sundays, bro.
I mean, our podcast.
Oh, your podcast will be up
Yeah.
on every Wednesday. Okay, cool, yeah. And just to watch out for more people's stories, I guess. And yeah, I
you
think
have a Facebook page also, right?
I have a
Everyday People,
Facebook page. I just find the Everyday People of Singapore on
Mm.
Facebook, and it'll be up there.
All right, we're gonna put all the links on the video and also on the description. As usual, also follow us on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. Get in touch with us if you want to be on the show, and sponsors if you want to get a piece of this. We got so much free space. We can paste your logo on our foreheads or
face.
whatever.
On his face.
Arman, thank you so much
Thank
for,
you, man.
for being on the
Thank you
show
guys, man.
and
I
telling
hope you had
us
fun. I hope you had
your-
fun.
That was
your
fun.
inspirational stories. And I hope you continue doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you very
We
much.
need more people like you.
And I hope your podcast is gonna just go for the stars and
Thank
be
you.
huge.
We'll probably
Hopefully.
be undefeated for like 11 podcasts and then we'll lose one, just like Ridhwan.
What
Damn.
next?
All right, that's it. Bye
It's a
bye.
wrap.